Hello and welcome, this is Jeff Goodwin, and this is the watercolour we're doing today. Just a country road with a bit of shadow over the road, as you can see in the foreground, and the road disappearing around the corner. Just some trees there, simple sky, and as always we'll start off with just wetting the paper a bit here for the sky area where we're going to apply our watercolour paint. This is 100% cotton watercolour paper, A4 in size, so it's a good size to learn on. Some cobalt blue there. So I usually tilt the paper and let the colours diffuse. I will tilt the paper just a tiny bit, but I'm not going to do that to the extent I normally do it. And I'm just putting the blue in a certain area here for the sky. I'm going to soften those edges as well and put some water in those clear areas where I don't have colour. I'll be putting some water there and then adding just a hint of yellow ochre. Just softening those edges there. Putting some clear water there in those areas. Tiny bit of yellow ochre. There we are. I think that'll just about do for our sky. And of course, some of that sky will be covered with our trees. Just tilt it just a tiny bit. Putting some yellow ochre here on for the road, and then eventually we'll go over that with a little bit of peach, and we'll bring the peach back a bit as well. Making it a little bit, just a little bit darker down the where that road curves around by putting just a little bit of extra yellow ochre in there. This is using some olive green now. It's just going on dry paper. Now that will fade back quite a bit, so we'll have to go over that once again eventually. Putting a little bit of Australian leaf dark green in there. And on this side this time I'm wetting the paper on this side, and that's some olive green going on there now. Just where the brush is not there, but just where the brush is on the base of those, where I'm going to paint those trees, about there, I'll be putting some light green in there, just there. So I'll do that later. Some yellow ochre in there, just to give it a bit of a feel there, some texture. So please subscribe, and if you want to click that bell icon for any future videos coming up. And we'll do these watercolours together, we'll experiment, learn together. So I'm putting some peach down here now, a very light mixture of a peach colour watercolour. And I'll bring that back a bit as well in some areas. Here comes the peach now. See a big difference there. And I'm going to bring that colour back a bit as well, because I feel it's a little bit strong. And that's the beauty of watercolour. You can do that, but just as long as you don't overdo it and keep going back over it again and again. There we go. You see I'm just lifting that colour back just a bit. So have a look at it. If it looks a little bit strong, you can always wet your brush, dry it off a little bit with a paper towel, and then drag it through to lift that colour. I don't want all the colour lifted, but just in those spots. Some dark leaf green going in here, just on the edges. Same on this side, some dark leaf green. And you can see on the right hand side that's faded back quite a bit, so I really want to put a bit more colour there on the right hand side. Got a couple of hills in the back, or a hill in the background on the right hand side, and we'll use a light green for that as well. All the colours used here are by Art Spectrum as well. They don't sponsor this channel at all. It's just I like their colours and I use Art Spectrum quite a bit. I also use Winsor & Newton occasionally as well. But I like Art Spectrum. I think their colours are really beautiful, very vibrant colours. All right, so we need to do the hill in the background. We need to strengthen some of the colour on the right-hand side. And we also need to put a bit of a fence in there as well. There you go. There's the hill in the background, leaving room for the trees, and I've just strengthened the colour. Sorry you didn't see me do that, but I left record off and it should have been on. Anyway, you see what I've done there. So I'm just bringing that colour back just a bit there, similar to what I did on the road. Sometimes I don't have to do that. Usually I don't have to, but having a bit of trouble with this particular painting, but it's working out. So the colour's strengthened. I brought the colour back a bit, but it's still stronger than what it was before on the right-hand side. All right, so let's put some trees in here. Using olive green. You can mix some other colour in with it, which is always a good idea. You can put a little bit of burnt sienna in there if you wanted to, with the green in places. Just experiment and see how you go. And look, if it doesn't turn out, you can always do another one. That's not the end of the world. Don't give up. I almost threw this one away actually, and I was going to start again, but I decided to keep going with it. Got a big tree to put in the middle there. Well, it's just off to the side of the road, right in the distance there. You can probably see that tree trunk there where that white is, just where the road disappears. Now you notice when I did that hill, I left some gaps for the trees. You don't have to do that. I could have gone straight through and then put the trees in, and I usually do that anyway. but for some reason I decided to leave a gap for the trees. Just some dark leaf green here. It's actually called Australian Leaf Green Dark, and it's by Art Spectrum. It's a great colour. You'll end up using it quite a lot. If you get it, you'll just love the colour. That's some Australian dark or Australian green leaf dark. I'm just putting on there. Just in some areas. Just some tree trunks. Got to do that tree in the middle yet, and we need to put the fence in as well. All right, here we go with this tree in the middle. I'm using some white gouache. This white gouache is also by Art Spectrum. So the tree I'm painting here obviously in the white gouache, but then I'm going to put some blacks in areas on the tree as well, and some foliage as well on this tree. You know, you could just about leave the tree as it is with a little bit of black on the trunk and on some of the branches without any foliage if you wanted to. It may even look more dramatic if you left it without foliage. But I'm going to put foliage on mine. Just putting a little bit of black in areas here with using a rigger brush. So using some olive green, I'm just going to put some foliage on the tree. I'm just putting a little bit of darker green just in some areas over the olive green. What we need to do is also get that fence in there. Put a fence in either side. I'm putting a tree on the coming out from the left-hand side. Just decided to paint one in there. And obviously that tree is sort of in the foreground, but coming out from the right-hand side. using a rigger brush for this as well. Excuse my hand being in the way. Just darkening up some of the trees just in some areas on here. We need some, you could leave that tree I just painted on the right hand side coming out from the side there. You could leave it the way it is. It might be a good contrast to the other tree with foliage if you left it the way it is, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put foliage on it as well. We'll see how it looks. So you might like it the way it is, that tree sticking out from the right hand side without foliage. But let's see how it looks with foliage. So here we go. We'll get into that very soon. We'll just put some shadow down. We're going to go over that area there anyway with a bit more shadow. Oh, there it is. That's that tree with the foliage on the right hand side. Let's paint this fence. Just using black paint, black watercolour, and I'll go over some of that with a little bit of white gouache. Right, so we've got the fence in there. We'll go over that area again with the fence because I think we need to make those fence posts stand out just a bit more than what they are. I'm just putting in some sort of a wire or some palings or something like that. So we'll go over that fence a bit more and make the fence a bit bolder, and we'll put a little bit of white in areas on some of those fence posts as well. Now I'm using you can see a purple. I'm just creating some shadow from the trees. Now you don't always have to use, some people say, oh, you've always got to use purple for shadow. No, you don't. You can You know, you could use a green colour, you could use a darker colour than what's on the road there. You might want to use, when the shadow's falling on the road, something like a raw sienna or something. And on the ground, where the grass is, a deeper green. So you don't always have to use the purple colour, but I've just decided in this one I'm going to use it because I just want the painting to be a little bit more colourful. And I want the shadow to be sort of, you know, randomly going across the road and just in all different shapes, being cast from whatever is in the background. Putting it, just strengthening the colour just a little bit there. So you see the shadow coming down the embankment there and going across the road as we're painting it in. I think that'll do it for the shadow. I think we'll put some birds in the sky, maybe a couple of white cockatoos. I can't really paint cockatoos, but I'll put the impression maybe of a couple of cockatoos in the sky. Some grasses and things like that on the edge of the road. There's the fence, it's a bit bolder now. And you'll see on the final reveal, we've got a little bit of white on the fence as well. Just putting some grasses down in some areas. Now here comes our white cockatoo birds. Or maybe they're just white birds, I don't know. I just thought I'd go for white this time, for a couple of birds in the sky. You don't have to put birds in the sky, obviously. So just a quick little V with the ends rounded, sort of, so just like that. There we are. So let's take our tape off. So please subscribe. Really appreciate those people who have already subscribed, and I really appreciate any new subscribers as well, as we do these watercolours together, learn together. If you want to write any comments below, please do. I'll try to get back to everybody. Or if there's anything lengthier you want to ask or talk about, you can send me an email, and that is jeffgoodwinart@gmail.com. That's jeffgoodwinart@gmail.com. JeffGoodwinArt@gmail.com. All right, well, I think that's just about it. We'll continue taking that last piece of tape off. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed that watercolour. You know, you do it to suit yourself. You can see those bits of white on the fence now, on the fence posts. Just over some of the black there, just adds a bit of extra to it. So thank you for watching. I'll be back again very soon with another watercolour. Have a great day. Bye for now.